Before we go any further, just want to thank all the people over on Patreon, because without their help, none of this upgraded content that you'd be seeing would be possible. Over on the Patreon, you get exclusive sneak peeks at upcoming videos. You also get access to the Patreon only Discord server. Coming up soon, I'm going to be working on talking about other anime that I can't talk about here on YouTube, like say ReZero, Konosuba, and etc. I'm also going to start posting the scripts for video essays, and every 3 months we do an anime and manga haul. We also are going to open up the Patreon only Discord server to YouTube members at the $2 price tier, which also means that members will be seeing their name here alongside the patron. But with that being said, let's get back into today's video. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another review for Boruto chapter 75. And now that chapter 75 is done in the books, we got a lot to talk about, because this was a very text heavy chapter with a lot of exposition, and if you only kept up with the spoilers, there's a lot of new information that we didn't get presented to us. We also got a few instances where I'm 90% sure Viz Media made some tweaks to the text that we got in the chapter. So I've ordered the magazine from Japan, and I'm going to have a translation for a few lines to get double checked. With that out of the way, let's jump into the recap portion of the review. So the chapter opens up right away with Amado revealing the breakdown of how Ada and Damon's powers works, which we as the reader know this information, but not all the info that's presented is known to the main cast. So this is a bit of a catch up for them. But the major thing that we get here is confirmation of Ada's age, which is that she can only look back 16 years into the past. Anything before that, she can't see it. So essentially, Ada can view everything from the 4th Great Ninja War all the way up until the current events of the story, which is very interesting, just given the fact that she's had a couple of different tropes for her character, but 16 years old makes a lot of sense. When Ada speaks, she's written with a lot of katakana and a lot of doublespeak that borders on being that bratty princess side, so it makes sense in that case. Amado then tells Naruto and Shikamaru how Damon's powers work by establishing physical contact with another person, and right away we see Naruto's teeny tiny brain more than once struggling to process this information, but thankfully Shikamaru's there to process the information. Basically, Shikamaru's there to try and think for Naruto, which is absolutely funny. We got a really funny panel where Naruto's eyes are squinting, and you can tell Naruto's like, yeah, I'm totally confused here. I love that. That was actually a good scene for comedy there. Now, Amado says that the powers we're seeing are actually the powers of a god. In particular, the god Shibai Otsutsuki, the Otsutsuki who managed to attain godhood. Amado explains that Shibai attained godhood by using the karma to be reborn and eating multiple chakra fruits, at which point consuming so much genetic material that was absorbed into the chakra fruits that he ate that Shibai became a god. Amado says that the powers of Ada, Damon, and Code, even Kawaki's dojutsu powers that Ishiki had, came from Shibai. When Shikamaru hears that Amado transplanted DNA from Shibai's remains to bestow those powers to the cyborgs who he named, Shikamaru asks Katasuke, is this possible with technology? We once again see how far in advance Amado is with science when it comes to Konoha, because Katasuke says that before he met Amado, he would have said no, it's impossible, which it makes a lot of sense, as the light novels have confirmed. Katasuke has not found a way to transplant Kekkei Genkai powers into ninja tech. The person who's come the closest has been Orochimaru, and even Orochimaru hasn't succeeded. The ninjutsu, absolutely yes, but not to outright rip the Kekkei Genkai from one person and just flat out give it to another and have it be a permanent use. But Amado has managed to do just that by finding a way to transplant Shibai's DNA. Katasuke says that when he saw Kawaki's body and he saw the technology on the aircraft that Kashin Koji crashed, he realized there was a lot about science that he didn't know, which goes back to why the car inners are so strong and why these cyborgs that he just named are that much stronger than Jigen. The inners use Amado's nanotech and Hashirama cells for their power. The Hashirama cells are binding agents for that nanotech. All the cyborgs with Shibai's powers got their powers from having the DNA of that Otsutsuki God transplanted using Amado's nanotech. That makes a ton of sense right there. Amado then goes on to say that Shibai is built different than any other Otsutsuki who we've seen prior to this. Waving hands, he was able to cause windstorms. Screaming in rage caused thunderbolts and thunderstorms. He was able to activate his powers without weaving any type of hand signs. And Amado goes as far as to say that all ninjutsu as we know it, with the focusing of chakra and hand seals, is just a cheap imitation of the powers that Shibai has. He calls it Shinjutsu, which is basically divine jutsu, and he says that this power is actually what created the karma seal. But before he can go any further, Sarda pipes in, totally offended by hearing that ninjutsu is just a cheap trick compared to shinjutsu, which is actually very fitting when you think about it. The whole foundation of ninjutsu, when you break it down, is ninja arts, deception, trickery basically. It's a good play on words here by Amado, and that's actually a good writing choice right there. Classic Kishimoto writing to kind of do the pun on words. Now, Amado then tells us that Shibai revived so many times that he no longer needed a physical body anymore, and he's managed to transcend, and that his body has been left behind. And that's when Amado drops that bombshell on us, that he's been hoping to use the divine power to bring back his dead daughter to life. And this next part of the chapter should put to rest a bunch of different things, and you should go back to Naruto Gaiden's manga, because some of the stuff that we're seeing was actually set up during Naruto's conversation with Orochimaru. Essentially, after we see Delta demanding to see Ada and we see Delta get shut down, Amado reveals to us in a flashback the truth of what happened. 12 years ago, his 24-year-old daughter died of an unknown illness. However, even after the doctors gave up hope, Amado never stopped trying to save his daughter, and instead he turned to science to find the answer. Amado took the DNA of his daughter and made her a clone, and 9 months after his daughter died, very poetic by the way, he managed to complete the clone. However, there's a problem. Despite Amado digitizing his daughter's preserved brain and her memories, despite her having the voice of his daughter, the woman standing in front of him had everything needed to be his daughter, except she wasn't actually his daughter. This makes you look back to all the interactions that Amado and Delta had throughout the manga that much more sadly, because we can tell how much this hurt Amado, because the art here is expressive where it needs to be. Ikimoto and his 3 assistants did a good job on this one. This was very well done. This was something that Orochimaru touched on when he spoke to Naruto and Sasuke about genetics, and even in the anime when he coldly referred to taking Mitsuki's data that we call Mitsuki's memories and just starting over with a new version of Mitsuki. Amado ran into the same issue over and over and over again. No matter how many times he made clones of his daughter, Delta came back with a different personality each time, which should put the nail in the Kashin Koji stuff, because a lot of people think Kashin Koji was going to be Jiraiya 2.0. Kashin Koji is not Jiraiya. He does have some of the genetic memories from Jiraiya, but it's more than just a different upbringing. The path that Boruto's manga has taken is the same path that Masashi Kishimoto took with Naruto Gaiden and with Mitsuki's one-shot, which is that clones, they might share DNA of the original. They might even have some fragmented memories of the original, but they have their own personalities and they walk their own path. This failure by Amado led to him realizing there was no point in trying to play God himself. There are some things man can't do with just science, which is when Jigen appeared in front of him, telling him to join him. In exchange for his help, Jigen promised to revive Amado's daughter, which props to Ikimoto, because again, the panels where Amado are shown here look really good. He and his assistants did a good job driving home the humanization of Amado as a character through the art. It's then that Amado reveals that he was willing to do everything possible to revive his daughter, but when he learned the true purpose of Jigen's plan, to feed himself to the Ten Tails, have Ishiki reborn into Kawaki's body, and then harvest a chakra fruit, Amado realized he'd be bringing his dead daughter back to life only to live in a dead world. Amado's realization of what he signed up for and the desperation to bring his daughter back to life led to him realizing the true power of karma, because he saw the overlap. If Otsutsuki could revive using karma, why couldn't he revive his daughter with karma, which I did a whole video breaking down Amado's last name, how he was going to use Kawaki's karma to do just this. Amado reveals that he added his daughter's data to Kawaki's karma, and that all he needs is for Kawaki to implant the karma onto the clone of his daughter, which in turn would revive his daughter. This now explains why he implanted karma onto Kawaki against his will, but also why he was willing to gamble in the way that he did, and why so many of the traits of the Meinu-jaku were used for Amado's personality. Whereas the Meinu-jaku, a Japanese creature that tricks people, mostly children, enters into their homes, kills them, and pretends to be the children by wearing their skin, Amado had the signs of being in a Meinu-jaku, from being called a fox to constantly lying, the deception with tricking Kawaki into into taking the karma, referring to karma as a home. Amado's purposes weren't nefarious. Amado simply wanted Kawaki to embed his karma seal onto a clone of his daughter. While that clone has everything needed to be his daughter, it doesn't have his daughter's personality, but that karma seal would in theory be able to bring his daughter back from death. And when that karma seal fully extracts, it's going to extract all the data of his daughter and give back the real personality of his daughter, because the daughter will be revived. The mythology lines up here. This is very good. However, here's the thing. Shikamaru demands of Ada that she confirm Amado's story, which she quickly does, though she says that she's impressed with how far Shikamaru is willing to go here, while Ada uses her powers to look back into the past. Momoshiki begins speaking to Boruto, and we get another big bombshell here. Boruto's manga has gone full-blown Chainsaw Man. Now, without going into Chainsaw Man spoilers, I know a lot of you guys are anime only fans, there's a situation exactly like Boruto and Momoshiki where a devil and a character I will not name share the same brain, and the devil can hear the thoughts of the human host. Momoshiki tells Boruto to keep it a secret so they can communicate, with Momoshiki saying he'd rather not deal with Kawaki if Kawaki were to find out, which means that Momoshiki knows Kawaki can pack both of them up. Now, the big thing here is that Momoshiki reveals that this is a byproduct of him taking his own data that was meant for Momoshiki's resurrection and using it to repair Boruto's internal organs when Kawaki destroyed Boruto's heart and other organs. So now their minds are linked, which is going to be very important going forward. Momoshiki says that Amado is lying, but he's not lying about everything. The existence of Shibai Otsutsuki, that's actually correct. The powers that Amado said, that's mostly correct as well. The only issue is that Momoshiki has never heard of the divine power that controls the hearts of others, which leads to Momoshiki saying that this is not a divine power. And we know there's a reason to believe him, because Momoshiki reveals that he has knowledge of all things when it comes to the divine powers of Shibai and just divine powers in general. After Ada confirms Amado's story, Amado gives Shikamaru a salty look, making it very clear that he's offended after he just spilled his guts to Naruto and Shikamaru, only to be doubted. But Shikamaru says that Amado's earned no goodwill in Konoha with his constant lying and his constant half-truths. However, while those two continue talking, Boruto, being the genius that he is, he comes to realization. His mind is linked to Momoshiki, which means there are things he can gain insight from, shown by Boruto saying, you know, and the panel focuses in on his eye, and we see that Boruto got an idea here. Our minds are linked, so I should be able to see the same future that you did when you told me I would lose everything. And that's when we see the dark future that awaits Boruto. We see the Hokage monument. We see Team 10 trying to stop someone. We see Shinobi looking around for someone. We then see Sarda calling out to Mitsuki, who is now in Sage mode officially for the first time in the manga run. And he's staring down at Kawaki, and what's interesting to note is that Kawaki has blood on his face, and given how pissed off Team 7 is and how pissed off Team 10 is, and Team 10 saying that this is not something a friend would do, as well as the urgency at which Sarda is moving, it feels like something might have happened to Boruto. It's then that we get that good long panel of Boruto Uzumaki, and the shading is a very nice touch here, meant to show the weight of the scene. However, as Boruto tries to wrap his head around what he just saw, Ada is staring at Boruto almost as if she knows what's going on here, which that's going to be very interesting. This was a good chapter, from the reveals to the art to the shading choices that we got. Ikimoto and his 3 assistants who help him out with shading and backgrounds and corrections. He does not do everything alone. I cannot stress that enough, despite what everybody tends to say. He has help. They really came with it on the chapter. You guys know I'll critique where I see issues that bug me, that stand out, but with this one, I think the panels flowed very well here together in this chapter, and the small touches of shading, they went a very long way. This chapter should be the one that ends off manga volume number 19, which means the next chapter we get is going to be the start of Boruto volume 20. The Amado reveal accomplished everything that it needed to. We got the true purpose of Amado, we got the humanization for Amado with the customary Masashi Kishimoto tragic backstory for the character, but we also got enough hints that Amado's leaving out chunks to his story, leaving the door for there to be something more to Amado. Ada's text was bolded when she said that Amado was telling the truth about that part of the story, and Momoshiki took things a step further by flat out telling Boruto that Amado's lying and he's not to be trusted. Momoshiki has already been shown to be suspicious of Amado, telling Kawaki he thinks that Amado is going to be the reason why Kawaki's fed to the Ten Tails, and that's not some random line in there just to be thrown in. However, while it's clear that something's being set up for Kawaki and Amado later on down the future, there's a glaring flaw in Amado's plan here that we have to discuss, which is his belief that Kawaki will willingly revive his daughter. Kawaki doesn't really have incentive to implant the karma seal onto a Delta clone. He hates Amado, and he doesn't have any type of reason to go through with it unless there's another ace up Amado's sleeve. He wouldn't come this far without some type of a backup plan, not when he's this close to bringing back his daughter. Now, on the Delta thing, I've seen people confused about Amado's daughter being Delta because of the whole thing. Delta has rockets on her legs, which has led to some of you guys saying that, hey, if she has rockets on her legs, it can't be Delta because that means Amado's daughter would have to have rockets on her legs as well if it's a clone, and that's not true. That's Amado's ninja tech. Every person who Amado made into a cyborg is outfitted with ninja tech, and there are multiple types of ninja tech. It's not just the shinobi gauntlet. It's not just what you've seen Kawaki do. The nanotech that he used on Kawaki and the inners. There are multiple different types of it. In fact, I can think of 5 different types of shinobi wear technology off the top of my head. Delta changing the tissues in her body to stab Naruto or to create holes in her feet to shoot out those chakra blasts so she can propel herself through the air. That's just one of many different types of ninja tech, which is another reason why we need Boruto data books. This chapter's success or failure is going to depend on largely how well you received Amado as a sympathetic character. For me, it actually works because it's the perfect representation of what Boruto Part 1 is, the story of Naruto and Boruto, the story of parents and children. We've seen multiple sides of fatherhood in Naruto Gaiden, the Mitsuki one-shot drawn by Masashi Kishimoto, the Boruto era novels, and now with this current reveal of Amado. There's a straight line message being handed down to the readers, which is a good setup to the transition away from this being a parent and child story to just being the story of the children becoming adults. However, the biggest thing here in this chapter is that the Otsutsuki God is still out there, and the seeds have been planted for this God to return to this realm. And given how powerful this God is, Boruto and the main cast are going to have to get a lot stronger than they currently are, because it's not a matter of if this God returns, it's going to be a matter of when this God returns, because we've been told multiple times the Earth's chakra fruit is special from any other planet out there. My chapter questions to you guys are going to be, number one, how'd you feel about the scripted chapter review? Normally, I just one take the chapter reviews, talk off the top of my head after reading it, but I'm testing writing out my thoughts for the reviews like I do over on my other channel. Now, second, did the Amado reveal work for you guys, or was the Momoshiki reveal and the Otsutsuki God reveal too much to overshadow it? While you think that over, click here to watch my Sasuke Red Stint Chapter 3 review, or click here to watch my Chainsaw Man video.